Yo, what is up? How you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of What to Expect, and today we have another little sneak peek of what new things that will be added into Unturned. So yesterday Nelson released a teaser picture of the teaser trailer, but let's not look at this image anymore as the teaser trailer has now been released. Now, it's one thing that we have been waiting for months now, ever since it was actually announced. We are finally getting the Russia map. Now, before we get into this this little teaser or whatever, if you look in the description of the video, it says if all goes according to plan, 3.16.0.0 should be out 19/08/16, which means if it all goes well, guys, we will have this Russia map this Friday. Anyways, guys, I'll stop talking right now. Let's go ahead and get right into the teaser. But first, guys, after this teaser is over, I will go ahead and break this teaser down for you guys, just so I could elaborate more on some of the new stuff that's been added and all the new cities, towns, and all the new objects, all that stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead and get right into the teaser. So now that you guys have now seen the teaser, let's go ahead and break it down. So the first scene, we can see some giant hills on both the right and the left sides, but look directly in the middle of the image where the large body of water is. Now, in the large body of water, you guys can actually see some giant boulders sticking out of the waters next to the lighthouse. Now, this will most likely make it a lot more difficult for boats to pass through because these giant rocks are in the way, and it also looks like the view of the entire map is going to actually look really good, so you guys will be able to get some great pictures in Unturned and make them your backgrounds, thumbnails, or whatever. But yeah, let's go and move on to the next thing. Now, the second scene that we have, we can see some new rock models, new trees, and new grass color. Now, this scene, you can't really elaborate too much on it because it's kind of obvious what's there, but let's go ahead and move on to the scene after this one. Now, the scene after this, we can see a train station that has a giant hole in front of it. Now, there is a train in the middle, and there is a hole right around that train in the middle. Now, it looks like there could possibly be a connected tunnel that leads underground, but that's just a guess. Now, from the structure of the building, it looks like this would be a place where you will most likely find construction and mechanic gear. Now, this next scene that we have is a giant stone quarry. Now, this quarry has two big mining machines, like the ones that we have seen in Washington. But yeah, now with a giant stone quarry like this, that means that it's most likely going to be the best place to find the most mineable material, including pickaxe spawns. Now, this would also be a great place to make a nice base, just because of the structure of the quarry, and it will most likely be difficult to defend. But that's basically what makes the game fun, you know, some difficulties here and there, some challenges. It makes the game a lot better. There's also going to be some mining carts on a little railroad track, which I'm assuming you will be able to push them around. Now, it would be great to see how these train tracks are used by the players and what they will do with them to get an advantage over other players. Now, in this next picture, it looks like it could be the capital of Russia, which is Moscow. Now, mainly because of the building on the right-hand side, which is very much resembles a few structures in Moscow. But there isn't really that many buildings or monuments around, so this town or city or whatever is going to be less likely to be Moscow. You know, it could be, I could be wrong, who knows. And instead, it could just be a small town in Russia, which is most likely. But since this town is bigger than most in the teaser, this will most likely be the main town that all the players will be at. Now, skipping to this next scene, right after the similar Moscow location, it seems like this is going to be another big location. Now, everything else in this image is quite self-explanatory, but if you guys look in the middle of the city, you guys can see a giant green box. Now, I'm assuming that this is a mini quarantine zone, or it is an access route into the sewers of Russia. Now, in the scene after that one, there is an airport that we can already see that we're in, which you can tell by the seating, suitcases laying everywhere, and the overall layout of the building. Now, the airport will also be fitted with a conveyor belt, as shown in of course, the bottom of the screen, and I have also shown the conveyor belt in previous videos. Now in the next scene, we have an assembly line. Now this is assembling tanks, of course. Now it also seems like this building is using some of the conveyor belts to move the tanks around that we have seen in the airport. Now, since this is a tank assembly area, this will most likely be a location to find military vehicles, just like the military bases. Now, those yellow arms we have seen in images that were leaked on the Unturned subreddit a few weeks ago, but we didn't know what they were used for before, but now we know what they're going to be used for. Now, back to the conveyor belts really fast. I don't know if those ones you can actually turn on and they'll start actually moving the tanks and maybe they'll fall off. I don't know yet. We'll have to see what happens, but they will most likely not be able to be movable because they're just going to be, just sitting there with the tanks on just for the look of it. Now, skipping a few scenes that seem a little bit less important. Now, we go to the scene with a much bigger military base with an airport with 2 plane hangars. Now, looking for what we can see, there may only be 2 ways into the base, because of course we have the original entrance, and then you guys also have the giant wall broken on the side, which is another entryway. Now, I don't really know what's going to be in this base. You're most likely going to be, of course, be able to find military clothing, maybe pilot clothing. You guys will most likely be able to find some maybe new planes, because we haven't seen any new Russia planes yet, so maybe there'll be some like fighter jets in there or something. We don't know yet. You'll most likely be able to find helicopters, any type of vehicle, any type of military clothing and all that stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. So now the next scene, we have a giant train tunnel, which I am assuming is going to be going along the entire map. Now, of course, it will have an entry and an exit, and because it can't really go on forever, but it would still be a great place to make a base with some friends because it is basically underground, and there will only be a few ways of the entries, making it harder to raid. So if you guys were to make a base in there, there would only be like literally 2 ways for people to come in, and you could just guard both of those entrances or whatever, and your base could basically be unraidable unless you're offline and you get raided. Then that's probably the only way. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Now, the scene after that one, we can finally see some of the new vehicles. Now, we have already seen the tank in the assembly line, but now we can see the new helicopter, and what looks like to be an older-fashioned military vehicle in the very back. Now, switching on to the scene directly after this one, we can see some cop cars, which these have not really changed at all, it seems. Looks like these are actually the same as the ones in Washington and in PEI. Now, skipping quite a few PvP scenes, we now see what looks to be a giant boat, or what could be a compound next to the water, which, looking from different angles, it is possibly actually an oil rig, a giant oil rig in the middle of the water, or it could be connected to like a dock or something like that, but we don't really know because we didn't really get that many other angles. Now guys, that is about it for this teaser breakdown. Of course, most of this was just some of it was just somewhat obvious, and some of it was just me elaborating on some stuff that some of you guys may have not seen or thought of. But yeah guys, please remember guys, these are just observations made from Nelson's Twitter and the Smartly Dressed Games YouTube channel. Anyways guys, that is about it for this video, and if you guys liked, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.